108 degrees. I felt like I was gonna pass out because I couldn't run that AC while making this video, but I made it. I'm alive. Enjoy. Hey, I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. I recently posted a video of my top 10 Frank Zappa albums, the ones released when he was alive. I'm now going to go through each one and kind of briefly break down why I like it. It is 108 degrees here in San Antonio, and if I run that AC, you can't hear me, so if I start sweating, that's why. So number 8, Weasels Ripped My Flesh. And of my top 10, this is probably the most difficult, if not inaccessible album to those of you that are not already versed in Frank. It is a single album released back in 1970. And after Frank broke up the Mothers, he did Hot Rats. And then before he, or while he was in the process of moving on with Flo and Eddie, he put together 2 albums that were essentially compilations of unreleased material from the Mothers, Burnt Weenie Sandwich and this. This is the wilder, crazier, more chaotic of the 2. Side 1, oh, and also in his live act, all the way up through the very end, Frank would conduct his bands. He had hand signals that he would use. He would use like A, if he wanted something in the key of A, the key of C, he would do things. He had, all these kind of things that he would do, and the band would either play a certain style or a certain riff, or he would sometimes the improvisation was not really what Frank wanted exactly played, but kind of what he wanted played. So he'd be like, you do this, and then you go up and down, and then you solo. And so there was always an element of even if Frank did the same motion every time, it would be different, because the musician had the freedom to interpret that however they wanted to. All of his improvs were strictly that, were unique improvs. So side 1 of Weasels Ripped My Flesh has a lot of that. It starts off with one of those. And you can hear as you go through, like the drums are doing something, then all of a sudden you hear a horn player play, and then you hear somebody start speaking in German. Lowell George does this German accent thing that kind of has a conceptual continuity in some of the 60s Mothers. And so Frank is essentially conducting these people, and there's a lot of that on this album. And it's not in context, so you don't know what song it's from, and it's cut off abruptly sometimes for other tracks, so it's jarring, and it's like, oh, I wanted to hear more of that, or I wish I know where that came from. But Frank's not giving you that now. Frank is being as difficult as possible. So side 1 opens up with some improv, and then you have a blues track featuring Sugarcane Harris that actually came from the Hot Rats sections a year earlier, and that's a pretty nice something to hold on to. It's a recognizable blues cover directly from My Heart to You. There's more chaos. There is a beautiful, in Toads of the Short Forest, starts with about a little over a minute of this amazing composed piece, like something like a Peaches or a Theme to Uncle Meat or something like that, this instrumental piece. It is beautiful. That when it arrives, it's just like, fresh air, we're here, this is something I can recognize, and that immediately goes into more chaos. And then side A ends with a nice little guitar solo, taken from another context, cut off abruptly, but it's a really good 1.5, 2 minutes of just Frank playing on guitar. Side B, the album, this is one of those where I think the 2 albums have the 2 sides of the album. Be aware of where they are, because I think they have 2 different feels to them, but at the same time, listening to them on CD, Frank only released this as the original album. There were never bonus tracks put in or anything like that. So for me, listening to this album, it's always about going from side A to the end of side B, even if I have to flip it over and continue on. Both sides need to be heard at the same time. This is one of those albums. But side B opens up with Eric Dolphy Memorial Barbecue, which is one of his composed pieces. That improvisation would take place in there. It is one of his weirder composed pieces, which is kind of not, maybe it is. No, it's not really one of his weirder. It's just a really good piece. This has a little bit of improv in it, not a lot. That goes into another piece that has a little bit of nice composed, beautiful, and then some crazy space noises. Then there's another track, which I'll get to last, Oh No, with lyrics is on here, the Orange County Lumber Truck, and then the track Weasels Ripped My Flesh is just noise that the band plays to end a concert, and then Frank ends it. But midway through side 2, after you've already listened to side one and you've heard Eric Dolphy's Memorial Barbecue and about a minute and a half of crazy keyboard noises, my guitar wants to play your mom. My guitar wants to play. My guitar wants to kill your mama pops up. And it is just genius. It is, the riff is great, the lyrics are great, the song is great. It's from a studio recording, so it sounds amazing. And coming when it does, halfway through side two, it is just like, this incredible just pop. It is like sugar after eating nothing but vegetables your entire life. It is just such an amazing experience. And then Oh No and Orange County Lumber Truck follow that into the end of the album, and it's just a great way to end the album. But it's an amazing 43-minute listening experience. Absolutely love it. My 8th favorite Zappa album. I want to give a random shout out to the 1984 live band, because I think they were the only band other than the original Mothers to play My Guitar Wants to Play Kill Your Mom live, which is just a shame. That song should have been in a lot more set lists. And I'm pretty sure the 84 band, unless I'm just having like a brain something here, being in quarantine for so long, that's the only band who played it. And they kind of ruined it, but they still did play it, so I give them props for that. But anyways, that's it, man. Check this album out with trepidation. Might be one of those you wait, just hold off on that. Trepidation is probably not the right word I want to use, but hold off on listening to this album because it's an intense one. But I love it. Number 8, Weasels Ripped My Flesh.